Om Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyanyajantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirvod Bhutai Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevaद्वयम् Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Narayanam Padmabhuvam Vasishtam Shaktin cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Mathasya Shishyam Shri Shankaracharya Mathasya Padma Adancha Hasta Malakancha Shishyam Tantotakam Vartikakaramaññan Asmadgurun Santatamānatosmi Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Parabrahmanishtam Swato Dharmanishtam Ahimsaikανishtam Swashishyai Sujushtam Yatinam Varishtam Gurunam Garishtam Dayanandarupam Madacharya Namah Shri Paramarthaya Sansaradhyasanashine Shrotriya Brahmanisthaya Tasmai Brahmavide Namaha Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. Start with the Mangala Shloka. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitathaya Tattva Bodho Bhidhiyate. I welcome you all to the 41st class of the Fundamentals of Vedanta series. Tattva Bodha gave out the essence of Vedanta in the Sutra Vakyam. Ātmā Satyam Tadanyat Sarvam Mithyeti. Ātmā, as we said, refers to the real I. It's the real meaning of the word I. So in effect, Tattva Bodha said that you are the Satyam and everything else is Mithya. You exist independently. Everything else depends upon you. And the implications of this are enormous. It turns our world upside down. It turns our vision of the world upside down. Because in the vision of Vedanta, the entire world is in me. And me being Satyam implies that I am fundamentally unaffected by whatever happens to Mithya. So whatever happens in the world, whatever happens in the body-mind complex, they being Mithya, just Nama Rupa, without their own existence, they depend upon me. Therefore, I am fundamentally unaffected by that. Just as the bangle getting dented cannot affect the gold, the mirage water cannot wet the sand. The dream cannot affect the waker. So this is the final vision that I have to come to, and this understanding that I am Satyam, that is unaffected by anything else, is moksha. Because I become free of all the apurnatvams that can potentially arise because of mithya vastu. But then when I hear this, my mind protests that how can I be the Satyam? I am so small. I am 5 feet tall, or 5 feet 6 inches tall, whatever, 60 kgs. This world is enormous. What do you mean this world is in me? It doesn't make any sense. And many people just think that Vedanta is talking something absurd. And therefore they close their ears and they walk away because they don't want to hear this. And Vedanta says for those who continue to listen, and one needs a certain amount of punyam to continue to listen to Vedanta. So Vedanta says that you have made a mistake. You have mixed up Ātmā with Anātmā. And that is why you are having trouble digesting what I am saying, even taking in what I am saying. Because you have not known the Ātmā, you have mistaken the Ātmā, and therefore you have mixed up the Ātmā and the Anātmā. So the student says, okay, if in your vision there is a certain Ātmā, and if I have mixed it up, then you tell me what this Ātmā is, you tell me who I am. Therefore, the student asks, Ātmā kaha? And Vedanta replies, Stula Sūkṣma Śarīrat Vyatiriktah Panchakoshatita san avasthatraya sakshi Satchidananda Swarupa Sanyasyas Tishtati sa Ātmā. So 3 negations and 1 definition. And why are the negations required? Because it is negating those Anātmās that I take myself to be. Stula Śarīram, Sūkṣma Śarīram, Karana Śarīram, Panchakosha, Avasthatraya. These are the things that this statement is negating. So 11 Anātmās in all are negated. And why is this negation important? Because I have to know the Anātmā as the Anātmā. I have to see the false as the false. Only then I can correct my vision of who I am by excluding these Anātmās and their attributes from my vision of who I am. And therefore, the way the text progresses is that it gets into each of the Anātmās, so that I have a better understanding of what I am negating and why I am negating it. The student asks, Sthula Śarīram kim? What is this Sthula Sharira that you are negating? And Tattva Bodha replies, Panchīkrita Panchamahabhutaihi Kritam Satkarmajanyam Sukha Dukkhadi Bhogayatanam Shariram Asti Jayate Vardhate Viparinamate Apakshiyate Vinashyatiti Shadvikaravat Etat Sthula Shariram. So as we said, it takes each of the shariras and analyzes it from the point of view of 5 criteria. The perceptibility, the cause, function, the constituents and its nature. The Sthula Shariram is perceptible by the senses. This gross body is perceptible by the senses. I can see your Sthula Shariram, you can see my Sthula Shariram. Then the cause, as we said, is Samanya Karanam and Vishesha Karanam. The Samanya Karanam is Panchīkrita Panchamahabhutaihi Kritam. It is made up of these Panchabhutas. which are visible to the senses. Akashaha, Vayuhu, Agnihi, Jalam and Prithvi. And the Vishesha Karanam is Sat Karma Janyam. The part of Prarabdha that is fructifying from Sanchita Karma determines the type of Stula Sharira. Sat Karma Janyam. And what is its function? Sukha Dukkhadi Bhogayatanam. It is a residence that the Jivatma occupies, and herein the Jivatma experiences the pleasures and pains. Just like we said, the transferable employee moves to a new city, takes up a residence, stays there for some time, and interacts with the world and people. And once he gets another transfer order, he has to vacate and hand over the keys. Similarly, when the prarabdha gets exhausted, this jivatma vacates this body. And Shad Vikaravat, he said, it has these sixfold modifications from birth to death. And we said these modifications, these sixfold modifications, are the nature of the body. And being the nature of the body, they cannot be separated from the body. Every body has to go through these sixfold modifications. And the constituents are the seat of the Jnanendriyas and the Karmendriyas, seat of the organs of knowledge, and physical seat of the organs of knowledge, and the physical seat of the organs of action. Tattva Bodha itself doesn't get into this, because if we look at any book on anatomy, we will know the constituents of the body. The Shastra typically doesn't get into a particular subject if that subject can be known through Pratyaksha Pramana. So this is the Sthula Shariram. And this is the body that I say, I am. And therefore we said that in order to appreciate that the Ātmā is different from this body, certain more teaching, some more teaching is required in the form of this Drigdrishya Viveka Prakriya. That is what we were discussing in the last class. So as we said, Prakriya is a methodology of teaching that brings one to the appreciation of the message of Vedanta. As long as I am identified with this, Sthula Shariram, then the words Ātmā, Satyam, Tadanyat, Sarvam, Mithyeti, they don't make sense to me. And therefore, this Drigdrishya Viveka is an essential step. And what is this? It's a Vivekaha. Vivekaha means a form of separation. Separation of what and what, the Drig and the Drishyam, the seer and the seen, the observer and the observed, the knower and the known. And we said that our experiences in life, they are so varied experiences in life. But every experience can be reduced to two entities: the observer and the observed, the knower and the known. In every experience, there's a knower and there's a known. Drigdrishyau dvau padarthau staha paraspara vilakshणौ drig brahma drishyam mayeti sarva vedanta dindimaha. Vedanta asserts that there are only two padarthas in the entire universe. Only two padarthas. One is drig, the other is drishyam. One is knower, the other is known. The observer and the observed. There is nothing else. And these two are of opposite nature. Paraspara vilakshana. Drig Brahma. This drig is the Brahman. Drishyam mayeti. Whatever I see is Maya. Sarva Vedanta Dindimaha. All of Vedanta is saying this. Here there can be a question. How come you are saying two? Because we are talking about Advaita. In Advaita, there's only one Satyam. How are you talking about two things? Drik and Drishyam. So we say, that we talk about Drik and Drishyam, but we did not say both are Satyam. We clearly said Drig is Brahma, Drishyam is Maya. So Drig is Satyam Brahma, the observer, the ultimate knower. Is the Satyam, it is Brahman. And whatever is known other than it is Mithya Maya. Now I have to come to this Drik. I have to appreciate that I am this ultimate Drik that Vedanta is talking about. So now, the line between the knower and the known, as we said, is very clear to me when it comes to the world. Like we said, that star. The star is observed, I am the observer. The star is Drishyam, I am the Drik. I know that the star is separate from me. I don't mistake the attributes of the star to be my attributes. Very clear. Same for this train. The train is different from me. I don't mistake the attributes of the train like the number of compartments or its color or the number of windows it has. I don't mistake all that to be my attributes. Very clear. Then I come to the things that I call my. For example, my house. Again, very clear, the house is separate from me and I am separate. I don't mistake the attributes of the house like its age or its square footage or its condition, whether it is dilapidated or in a good condition. I don't mistake that to be my attributes. Same as we said for this cloth. This is my cloth. I'm very clear this cloth is separate from me. I don't mistake the color of the cloth or the texture of the cloth to be my attributes. And then when it comes to this body, I say I am 5 feet 6 inches tall. I am 60 kgs. I was born on such and such a date. I am fair. I am dark. So I take myself to be this body and the attributes of the body to be my attributes. Vedanta asks a question that this body is as much a known entity as the star or the train or this house or this cloth. The body is known. So why are you saying I am this body? So the student protests. The student says the body is not like the house or the cloth because these are all insentient things. This body is sentient. So Vedanta points out that this sentiency that you're talking about, does it really belong to the body? This is something we have to inquire into. Is this sentiency the nature of the body? Vedanta says that this body, as we saw, is panchikrita panchamahabhutaihi kritam. It is made of these 5 panchamahabhutas that are inert: akashaha, vayuhu, agnihi, jalam and prithvi. It is made of inert ingredients. How can inert ingredients develop sentiency? And secondly, if sentiency was the nature of the body, it should not depart the body. Just like sweetness is the nature of sugar, sugar and sweetness cannot be separated. But the sentiency departs the body when one is unconscious, when one is in coma, when one is under anesthesia, or when one is in really deep sleep also, or finally upon death. Sentiency departs this body forever. Vedanta points out that the sentiency that you're talking about, it doesn't really belong to the body. It is borrowed sentiency. Where is it borrowed from? You say, from you, the Ātmā. You are of the nature of consciousness. Sat, Chit, Ananda, Swarupa. That Chit is the consciousness. You are of the nature of consciousness. You are the original consciousness. And you have lent consciousness to this body. And then you have mistaken yourself to be this body. It is like looking at a reflection in a mirror. The reflection in the mirror, that face in the mirror, it is borrowed from the original face. The mirror doesn't have its own face. It is a borrowed face. And then imagine that one starts to take the reflection in the mirror to be the original. Vedanta says that is exactly what you're doing. You are that original consciousness. And you are lending consciousness to this body and saying, I am this body. This is a mistake. Drigdrishyau dvau padarthau sthaha paraspara vilakshanau. You are separate from this body. The body is known. You, the drik, are separate from this body. You are the Ātmā. You are the nature of consciousness. But then, because I have not understood the Ātmā, I misunderstand the Ātmā. I take the attributes of the body to be my attributes. Like we said, the body goes through these various stages. Balyadishu. Balyam, Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara, childhood, boyhood, or infancy, boyhood or girlhood, youth, middle age, old age. It goes through all of these stages. And I say that the same I who is here now was there in the infant. I was there when I was a child. I was there when I was a youth. I was there when I was middle-aged. I am there when I'm old. The same I is continuing, but the states of the body are discontinuous. The two states of the body cannot be together simultaneously. The boyhood and old age cannot exist simultaneously, but I am there in all of those states. I am there continuing without a break. I continue. So how can these contradictory attributes belong to me? As we said, the attributes of the Drishyam belong to the Drishyam. Therefore, the attributes of the body belong to the body in all of these states. They don't belong to me. I, the Drik, am neither old nor young, neither a student, nor employed, nor retired, neither healthy nor unhealthy, neither male nor female. Again, this maleness and femaleness are all attributes of the body. They don't belong to the drik. So I am the attributeless drik that continues in all of these states. We say that this vichara has to be done repeatedly. It has to be seen repeatedly that I am this drik who is other than the drishyam. And when one does this, then one begins to appreciate that I am this entity that is other than this body. And this has to continue to the Sūkṣma Śarīra and the Karana Śarīra also. We will do that as we come to those. The bottom line is that only after this vichara, this viveka has been done, can the appreciation that I am this Ātmā, that is Brahman, that is the Satyam, that appreciation can then arise. So one may say, okay, so far we have discussed the body, the gross body, the sthula sharira. But then I am clearly affected by my mind. So I am agitated. I am calm at other times. I become afraid. Sometimes I am courageous. So I go through all of these fluctuations. So clearly I am the mind. Okay, I can now, maybe I'll contemplate more on what Vedanta has talked about being different from the body. I perhaps see what you're talking about. But with regards to the mind, I'm clearly the mind. So here Vedanta points out that here you're getting stuck in Anātmā number 2, the Sūkṣma Śarīram. The mind is a part of the Sūkṣma Śarīram. Therefore, we have to understand what this Sūkṣma Śarīram is. So that is the next thing in the text that is discussed, and we will read that, and you can repeat. So this is on page 5 at the end of page 5, which says Tattva Bodha 3.2. That is the section we'll be reading now. Sūkṣma Śarīram kim
Sūkṣma Śarīram kim
apanchīkrita pancamahabhūtaih kritam
Apanchīkrita pancamahabhūtaihi kritam
satkarmajanyam
satkarmajanyam
sukha-dukkādi bhoga-sadhanam
sukha-dukkādi-bhoga-sadhanam
pancha-jnānendriyāni pancha-karmendriyāni pancha-prānādayah
pancha-jnānendriyāni pancha-karmendriyāni pancha-prānādayah
manaschaikam buddhischaika
manaschaikam buddhischaikas
evam saptadasha-kalābhis saha yat-tishtati
evam saptadasha kalābhis saha yat-tishtati
tat-sūkṣma śarīram.
tat-sūkṣma śarīram.
Sūkṣma Śarīram kim? What is this Sūkṣma Śarīram? So again, it is analyzed from the perspective of these 5 criteria: the perceptibility, cause, function, constituents, and nature. So let's discuss the perceptibility first. So the perceptibility is indicated not in the response as much, but in the very word Sūkṣma Śarīram. So it is called Sūkṣma because it is subtle. It is not visible to others. So your Sūkṣma Śarīram is not visible to me. My Sūkṣma Śarīram is not visible to you. With regards to the Stula Shariram, we said, my Stula Shariram is visible to you, your Stula Shariram is visible to me. But with regards to Sūkṣma Shariram, it is Indriya Agocharam. It cannot be seen by the senses. Your senses cannot see my Sūkṣma Shariram. My senses also cannot see my Sūkṣma Shariram. My senses cannot see your Sūkṣma Shariram either. But the Sūkṣma Śarīram is known to me still. Even though I don't know it through the senses, it is still known to me. My Sūkṣma Śarīram is known to me and your Sūkṣma Śarīram is known to you. Because I can know if my mind is agitated or calm or focused or disturbed. I know the states of my mind, not through the senses. As we discussed earlier in the topic on pramanas, it is known through sakshi pratyaksham, through witness perception. Because I am there as a witness of the mind, I know the mind. So I can see that a certain person who I am talking to, I'm talking to a group of people, I can see their stula shariras. I can see they are in the room. But I cannot see whether their minds are in this room or somewhere else. The minds could be wandering. Therefore, the Sūkṣma Śarīram's perceptibility is different from the Stula Sharira's perceptibility. Even though I cannot know, I cannot see the Sūkṣma Śarīram, I cannot miss it. Even for the other person. For example, if we take a fan, so I know the fan doesn't move by itself. But when I see a moving fan, I know that there is electricity also. I don't see the electricity, but I know that there is electricity also. Similarly, if we take the Stula Sharira, then if I see certain signs of life in the Stula Sharira, I know that the Sūkṣma Sharira is there. For example, if a doctor comes and examines a patient and shines some torch in the eyes and then looks at the pulse, and then the doctor says that this person is gone. Now, the doctor infers that this person is gone. You did not see the person going. It cannot be seen because it is Sūkṣma. Now the question is, what left? And here we say that the Shastra Pramana is required to know that it's the Sūkṣma Sharira that left. Because I cannot know the existence of the Sūkṣma Sharira either through perception or through Anumana, inference. Through inference, you can say something left. Right? Something left the body. That's what the doctors will say. That's what medical science will say. But they don't know exactly what left. To know exactly what it is that left, we have to come to the Shabda Pramana of Vedanta. Vedanta points out that's the Sūkṣma Śarīra that left. So I cannot miss the absence of the Sūkṣma Śarīra. I cannot miss the presence of the Sūkṣma Śarīra also. Both I know, even for the other person, by looking at signs of life in the body. The next one are the causes. So what are the causes of this Sūkṣma Śarīra? So here it mentions apanchīkrita panchamahabhutaihi kritam. Apanchīkrita. So just that is added compared to the Stula Sharira, which was panchīkrita panchamahabhutaihi kritam. Here, an is added to indicate that the Stula Shariram was made of the grossified 5 elements. Panchikrita means grossified. But the Sūkṣma Śarīram is apanchikrita, means that it is made of the subtle 5 elements. And these subtle elements are also matter. They're just very fine matter. But there's a difference. This fine matter is capable of reflecting consciousness. For example, if we play a muddy football, if we take a muddy football, right, a football that is covered with mud, people have just kicked it around, and if you look at it in broad daylight under the sun, you don't see the reflection of the sun in it. But on the other hand, if I take a shiny ball, which is made of very smooth, fine material, and if I place it in broad daylight, I can see the reflection of the sun in it. So it's all a difference in the material that constitutes that thing. Similarly, this Stula Sharira, made of Panchikrita Panchamahabhuta, is not capable of reflecting the consciousness. But this Sūkṣma Śarīra that is made of these fine Panchamahabhutas, it is capable of reflecting the consciousness. Therefore, it gets this sentiency. So because the causes are subtle, the effect is also subtle. Because we go by the principle of as the causes, so is the effect. This is the Samanya Karanam. All the Sūkṣma Shariras everywhere are made of these apanchikrita mancha mahabhutas. Now we come to the Vishesha Karanam. What is the specific cause of this Sūkṣma Śarīra? We say Sat Karma Janyam. A similar word was used for the Stula Shariram also, Sat Karma Janyam. So one thing to understand first is that it is Janyam. Janyam meaning that it is also born. Even the Sūkṣma Śarīra is born. When is the Stula Śarīra born? The Stula Śarīra is born at the time of conception. But the Sūkṣma Śarīra is not born at that time. The Sūkṣma Śarīra was born much, much earlier, at the time of Srishti itself. So we have discussed this, that before this universe came into existence, Ishvara alone was there. Transcending space and time. And what is that state like? We said it's similar to our deep sleep state. It's a state of pralayam. I mean, nothing exists. That is, nothing exists, meaning nothing is manifest. Everything is unmanifest. Everything exists in an unmanifest state. But then just as this dream arises from a person who is in deep sleep, from the vasanas that are unmanifest in the person, the dream world begins to become manifest. Similarly, we say that from Ishvaraha, this world arises. So at that time, the Sūkṣma Śarīra of the jivas who are going to participate in the creation, the Sūkṣma Śarīra of all the jivatmas arises at the time of Srishti. So what does it arise from? We say it arises from the Karana Sharira of the Jivaha that is located in Maya. From the Karana Sharira of the Jivaha. The Karana Sharira is unmanifest. Maya is unmanifest. The unmanifest world is called Maya. The manifest Maya is called the world. So from the unmanifest Karana Sharira of the Jiva located in Maya, the Sūkṣma Śarīra arises at the time of Srishti, the first Janyam. Then on what basis does the Sūkṣma Śarīra arise? Well, all the Sūkṣma Śarīras have differences. He says it's because of karma. Karma-janyam. And then one can ask that this is the beginning of Srishti. If this is the beginning of Srishti, how is the karma there? Because this is the first Janma in the Srishti. Even the first Janma in the Srishti has not come. So how can there be karma? We've talked about this before. That this Srishti is not the first Srishti. There was a Srishti before this Srishti. And there was a Srishti before that Srishti also. It is a beginningless chain. There was no beginning to Srishtis. You say anything was the first Srishti, we will say there was a Srishti before that. All the jivas were there in the prior Srishti also, in the prior to prior Srishti also. They have always been there. These jivas have always been there. And therefore, in all of those past Srishtis, the jiva has engaged in karma. And as we said, that every karma produces two effects. One is called phalam, and the other is called this vasana. So like we have discussed in the law of karma, every karma is like planting a seed. The seed is not the phalam, but the seed is the papa or punya, the adrishtam. And that papa or punya results in the phalam later, which affects the bhokta, the experiencer. But then every karma also creates a vasana. That vasana affects the karta, the doer. Like we said, a person takes up a cigarette for the very first time. At that time, the vasana is not there as much. Perhaps there was some purva janma vasana that's possible that attracted him to the cigarette. But it's also possible that he's starting this behavior from scratch. So first few times the vasana is not there as much, but as he repeats the act, that reinforces the vasana, that makes the vasana stronger and stronger, and then finally he becomes a slave to the vasana. So all of these karmas and vasanas are there in an unmanifest form. The punya papa is adrishtam, the vasana is also adrishtam. As we have said, avashyam anubhoktavyam kritam karma shubha shubham. Na bhuktam kshiyate karma kalpakoti shatairapi. That whatever seed has been planted, Whatever vasana has been created, that doesn't just disappear. Avashyam anubhoktavyam, the results have to be experienced. Kalpakoti shatairapi na bhuktam kshiyate karma. This doesn't just go away without being experienced, even if there have been 100 crore days of Brahma. Kalpakoti shatairapi. So then all of these karmas from the previous srishtis, they are all waiting for the next srishti. When the next srishti happens, this Sūkṣma Śarīra comes out. It's like a sprout coming out of a seed. There is not yet a full-blown plant or a tree, but the small sprout comes out. So this is the cause. But then we also added this Sat Karma Janyam. Sat Karma Janyam. So how do we explain that? We say, and take an analogy here of our laptops. So in our laptop, we download that same operating system from some place. Now, the operating system itself has all the capabilities to do everything the OS can do, the operating system can do. But then some laptops have got this fingerprint sensor, or some laptops have got this face recognition camera, or this iris scanner, etc. Or some have this touch screen where you can touch the screen and move the thing up and down. But some laptops are a more dumber version. They don't have any of these features. So the OS has all the capabilities to handle all of these fancy things. But if it is running in a dumbed down laptop, then those features like this fingerprinting scanner ability of the operating system is not manifest. This touch screen is not manifest. It is there, but it is not manifest. Similarly, this Sūkṣma Śarīra has the capabilities, has various capabilities, but then it adapts itself to the Sthula Sharira. So for example, in a plant, the seeing capability, the capability of vision, or this capability of speech, it is not manifest. Why? Because the hardware doesn't support it. Or if we take an animal, or even in a plant and an animal, this free will is not manifest. They act in a programmed fashion. This higher thinking ability is not manifest. But then in a human body, the complete capability of the Sūkṣma Śarīra is manifest. Free will is there, the higher thinking ability is there, the decision-making ability is there, the ability to deliberate and perform actions is there, which is basically the free will. A choice in action is there. So these abilities of the Sūkṣma Śarīra are manifest only in the human body. Therefore we say Sat Karma Janyam. Because this situation is there where the Sūkṣma Śarīra is manifesting its full capabilities, it is because of some punya that brought about this situation where the Sūkṣma Śarīra has got a human body, and therefore the full capabilities of the Sūkṣma Śarīra are manifest. This is Sat Karma Janyam. And what is the function? So we talked about the perceptibility and the causes. Now, what is the function of the Sūkṣma Śarīra? So it is Sukha Dukkhadi Bhoga Sadhanam. If you recall, in the Sthula Sharira, we discussed this Sukha Dukkhadi Bhoga Ayatanam. The Sthula Sharira is the residence where the Sukha and Dukkha experiences take place. But the Sūkṣma Śarīra is the means by which one experiences the Sukha and Dukkha. So how is it a means? How is it a sadhana? The very first thing for Sukha and Dukkha experiences to take place is that there has to be an alive Sthula Sharira. The Sthula Sharira has to be there and it has to be alive. A dead body doesn't have any Sukha or Dukkha experiences. So first thing the Sūkṣma Śarīra does, it enlivens the Sthula Śarīra by lending it this sentiency. So the Ātmā doesn't directly lend sentiency to the Sthula Śarīra, but it does that through the Karana Śarīra, through the Sūkṣma Śarīra, it lends sentiency to the Sthula Śarīra. The sentiency is borrowed sentiency, but it is not borrowed directly from Ātmā, but through the Karana Sharira, through the Sūkṣma Śarīra, the Sthula Sharira is sentient. The Sthula Sharira expands to the full, the Sūkṣma Sharira expands to occupy the full Sthula Sharira. That's why we have the sense of touch pervading the body. Now, as we saw in case of this person who is a transferable employee who occupies a certain residence in a new city, when he occupies this residence, he has to interact with the world. And therefore, the person has to get various tools to interact with the world. For example, he gets a landline phone, or he may get a fax, email, or a mobile phone, or he receives and sends mails. So all of these are tools to interact with the world. Because only through this interaction with the world can Sukha and Dukkha arise. If there is no interaction with the world, there is no question of Sukha and Dukkha. If I have no knowledge of the world at all, then what Sukha and Dukkha can be there? So interactions are essential. Therefore, the Sūkṣma Śarīra provides the tools through which I interact with this world. In deep sleep, the Sūkṣma Śarīra is withdrawn. And therefore, no interactions happen with the world. There is no Sukha and Dukkha. During death, again, the Sūkṣma Śarīra goes, leaves the body. There is no interaction with the world, no Sukha and Dukkha. So when I interact with the world, then I need the tools. And the Sūkṣma Śarīra provides the tools in the form of the Jnanendriyas to know what is going on. And I can influence the world also through my body. I first make my body do something. And through that, I can influence the world. And the world influences me. In this process, there is Sukha and Dukkha. So Sukha Dukkhadi Bhoga Sadhanam. This is the Sūkṣma Śarīra's function. Then we come to the fourth one. So we discuss the perceptibility, the cause, the function. The fourth item is the nature. Nature is not explicitly mentioned in the response, but we understand that it is also savikaram. Just like this body goes through these modifications, the Sūkṣma Śarīra also goes through modifications. There is a certain birth of the Sūkṣma Śarīra we'll discuss. It is janyam. In that itself, we know it is born. And it goes through modifications all the time. Why? Because as I am perceiving the world, even as I turn my head around, I see all of these things through the organs of knowledge. And that causes a vritti in the mind. Every time I see something, there is an appropriate modification that takes place in my mind. And that's a change in the Sūkṣma Śarīra. So it is savikaram. But the Sūkṣma Śarīra has a much longer life compared to the Sthula Śarīra. And the body becomes old and dilapidated, as we said. Apakshiyate vinashyati. But then the Sūkṣma Śarīra doesn't die at that point. Death is basically a separation of the Sūkṣma Śarīra from the Sthula Śarīra. So the Sūkṣma Śarīra survives death of the physical body and it continues, it travels to other lokas. We come to know from the Shastra. And then it takes up other embodiments. So when does the Sūkṣma Śarīra finally die? We say during Pralayam. Just as during Srishti, the Sūkṣma Śarīra was created. In general, the Sūkṣma Śarīra ends during Pralayam, when everything becomes unmanifest. Just as when I go to deep sleep, my dream ends. So this is the general rule that the Sūkṣma Śarīra ends during Pralayam. But there is an exception to this. The exception is during the Videha Mukti of a Jnani. So Jnani is a Jivan Muktaha who has understood the oneness of Brahman, that I am Brahman. And such a Jnani goes through life. And based on the Prarabdha Karma, the Sthula Śarīra continues. But when the Prarabdha is exhausted, the Prarabdha that brought about this Sthula Śarīra is exhausted, at that point, the Sūkṣma Śarīra separates. We say, in general, we say that the Sūkṣma Śarīra separates from the body and the Sūkṣma Śarīra travels. This is the general rule for an Ajnani. But in case of a Jnani, the Sūkṣma Śarīra does not travel. The Sūkṣma Śarīra disintegrates. Because the purpose has been accomplished in that life. The Jnani has gained Purnatvam, has gained Moksha. And therefore, the job is done. The karmas are exhausted. There is no karma in order for this future embodiments to be there. There is no karma left. Therefore, the Sūkṣma Śarīra also disintegrates. The individuality ends. The Jnani becomes one with Ishvara. So this is how the end of the Sūkṣma Śarīra comes about. For an Ajnani, Sūkṣma Śarīra ends during Pralayam. For a Jnani, it ends during Videha Mukti. For an Ajnani, that Sūkṣma Śarīra, yet another Sūkṣma Śarīra will appear from the Karana Śarīra in the next Srishti. But a Jnani is free of all this and has become one with Ishvara. So this is the nature of the Sūkṣma Śarīra. Now we come to its constituents. And this is where it's mentioned. In the response, it says, Pancha Jnanendriyani, Pancha Karmendriyani, Pancha Pranadayaha, Manaschaikam, Buddhishchaika, Saptadasha Kalabhihi Saha Yat Tishtati Tat Sūkṣma Śarīram. So it mentions all of the ingredients and it says Saptadasha Kalabhis Saha Yat Tishtati, meaning that which is there with 17 parts. Saptadasha Kalabhihi means with 17 parts it exists. So it gives a breakup of what these 17 parts are. Pancha Jnanendriyani, the 5 organs of knowledge. These are the input organs through which I gather data from the world. Pancha Jnanendriyani. So these Jnanendriyas give rise to some Jnanam in the mind. And based on the Jnanam, there is a desire. Only when I come to know of something, I can desire that object. So the Pancha Jnanendriyanis give rise to Jnanam, that Jnanam gives rise to Ichha. And that Ichha gives rise to Kriya. There is a desire to act in the world based on the knowledge, and the desire the knowledge gave rise to, there is a desire to act. The Ichha gets converted to Kriya. So Jnanam is there. From Jnanam there is Ichha. Out of Ichha, this Kriya arises. This Kriya is the karma that I have to do through the Karmendriyas. So Pancha Karmendriyani, these are the output organs through which I influence the world in some way. And then Pancha Pranadayaha. The 5 pranas are there. Now these 5 pranas don't directly help in any interaction with the world in terms of input or output. But they are the housekeepers. They keep the house in order. They keep the Sthula Sharira functioning. So anything needs energy. So one consumes food for the sake of energy. The food is the fuel, but then the food has to be digested, and that energy from the food has to be distributed across the body. The Pancha Pranas do this function. And then Manaschaikam, Buddhishchaika. So this is split as Manaha cha ekam. Buddhihi cha eka. Manaschaikam buddhihi cha eka. So the other 2 components, so we looked at 15 components, the Pancha Jnanendriyas, the Pancha Karmendriyas, and the Pancha Pranas. And then there is the Manaha, the thinking faculty. After one gets the data from the Jnanendriyas, one gets some Jnanam about what the state of the world is from the Jnanendriyas. Then one deliberates what to do. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I do it today? Should I do it tomorrow? Should I do it with this person or should I do it with that person? There is a lot of deliberation that happens before one acts, before one even decides what to act, how to act. So this is the thinking faculty. And then based on this thinking faculty, based on the pros and cons, one decides this is what I have to do, this is how I have to do this is when I have to do this is with whom I have to do this. All of that decision happens. That is the buddhi. So if you look at this whole mechanism, there is a completion of the loop here. One gets inputs from the world through the Jnanendriyas. And then there is a certain processing of the input that happens in the manaha. There is a debate, there is a deliberation that happens. And then there's the buddhi, the deciding faculty that decides this is what I have to do. And finally, in order to do it, one uses the karmendriya. So this is the Sūkṣma Śarīra, the 17 parts of the Sūkṣma Śarīra. So when we talk about the Jnanendriya, one thing to note is that we are not talking about the physical organ. We are not talking about the physical organ like the organ of sight or the organ of hearing. We are not talking about this when we say Jnanendriya. We are not talking about this when we say Jnanendriya. This Jnanendriya is an Indriya. Indriya meaning that it is a part of the Sūkṣma Śarīram. We say Indriyam, Atindriyam. Indriyam is Atindriyam, meaning that the Indriya is beyond the Indriya, beyond the scope of the Indriya. The Indriya itself cannot perceive the Indriya. So this organ of vision cannot see this Chakshurindriya, which is basically the organ of perception. It cannot see that. So we are not talking about the physical seat of the organ in the body. We are talking about the Sūkṣma Śarīra here, and that is what he enumerates. He enumerates each of these indriyas. Shrotram. We haven't read that part, I think. I think it's better if we just read that portion, and then we will quickly conclude today because we are running out of time. So we will read that portion about the Jnanendriyas also, just to introduce that portion. So Shrotram Tvakchakshuhu Rasanaghranamiti Panchajnanendriyani.
श्रोत्रं त्वक् चक्षुः रसना घ्राणम् इति पञ्च ज्ञानेन्द्रियाणि.
So this introduces the 5 Jnanendriyas. So the 5 Jnanendriyas are Shrotram, the organ of hearing, Tvak, the organ of touch, Chakshuhu, the organ of sight, Rasana, the organ of taste, and Ghranam, the organ of smell. So out of these, the organ of touch pervades the entire body. And this is important because this is important for survival of the body. Because if anything is crawling anywhere, I get to know about it immediately. If the organ of touch was not pervading the body, then if there's a spider crawling on my back, there's no way I would know about it. Or there may be a more dangerous creature that bites and injects some poison. There's no way I would know about it. So thankfully, the organ of touch pervades the entire body. And I can trace even the minutest movement somewhere. I immediately act. When I get this jnanam that something is crawling through the jnanendriya of touch, I immediately use my karmendriya and do something. The organ of touch pervades the tongue also. So this is the physical seat, the rasana. The rasanendriyam expresses through the tongue as the organ of taste. But then the organ of touch also pervades the tongue. So the tongue is pervaded by these 2 organs of touch as well as taste. And then the karmendriya operates through the tongue also, the organ of speech. We will see that. So the tongue serves 3 functions really. 2 functions of knowledge and one function of speech. That's why the tongue is said to be a very important organ. The control of the tongue is supposed to be one of the very important sadhanas for the growth of the individual. So each of these jnanendriyas operates in its own segment. As we have seen in the pramana discussion also, every pramana has got its sphere of operation in which it has undisputed self-validity. We had discussed this point. So the organ of vision operates only in the field of colors. The Chakshurindriyam operates only in the field of colors. The Shrotrindriyam operates only in the field of sounds. The Ghanendriyam operates only in the field of smell. The Rasanendriyam operates only in the field of tastes. So there is no overlap between these. Each of these has got their own sphere of operation. So there's more here. There's more details about the Jnanendriyas that Tattva Bodha provides. And the next discussion is with regards to devatas, etc. We will come to that. We will discuss this in our next class. Concluded today. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Any comments or questions based on what we discussed today?
Hari Om Guruji.
Yes, who's speaking?
This is Deepak here.
Deepak. Yeah. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Guruji, one question. You said the Sūkṣma Śarīram will die in two ways. One is Pralaya and second one is when Jivan Mukta.
Yes.
So the Pralaya one, if somebody has not attained the state of Jivan Mukta, so it's a continuous thing, is it? Like say in this Janma, I have not attained Mukti, so this thing will continue again in the...
Yes. So the Sūkṣma Śarīram. So what we call death is just a separation of the Sūkṣma Śarīra from the Sthula Śarīra. As we said, the Sūkṣma Śarīra is the one that lends sentiency to this body. So when the Sūkṣma Śarīra separates, the body falls dead. The body is cremated and the body ends. But the Sūkṣma Śarīra continues. And then based on the next prarabdha karma that is fructifying, the Sūkṣma Śarīra takes up another embodiment. So there is another life in another physical body for the same Sūkṣma Śarīra. And then if jnanam is not attained in that life, and again during death the Sūkṣma Śarīra separates and it continues and it finds another embodiment and another embodiment and so on. This process just continues endlessly. Now if pralayam happens, then the Sūkṣma Śarīra goes, but the Karana Śarīra is still there. So in the next Srishti, there is another Sūkṣma Śarīra that comes out, which would be somewhat similar to the previous Sūkṣma Śarīra, because if that person had some tendencies, for example, of had certain qualities and tendencies, then those same kinds of tendencies and qualities may appear in that Sūkṣma Śarīra again in the next Srishti. So then that struggle continues. And basically, as we have seen, this is a struggle for Purnatvam, for gaining that total fulfillment. And only a jnani gains that. And when that jnani gains the apurnatvam through jnanam, then that struggle ends. The karmas, all the karmas, and this is a discussion we had in the law of karma topic, that the entire sanchita karma, the bundle of karmas, is burnt through jnanam. And there is no more karma left to continue this. Therefore, the Sūkṣma Śarīra ends for the jnani.
One writer question on this.
Yes.
How do we define pralayam? What exactly is pralayam?
So basically, the entire Srishti is brought about due to the samashti karmas of all the jivas. Because all of these jivas have got these fructifying karmas that they have to experience the results of. They have to experience the sukha and dukkha. So that is what brings about this srishti. And then these jivas go through various lives. And then those set of fructifying karmas for that srishti, they are now exhausted. And therefore, that srishti ends. It is, you can liken it to the dream of a particular individual ending, right? Now, why did the dream come about? It came about because there was a pressure of the vasanas. There was some pressure in the mind that came out in the form of the dream. And then the dream, one goes through some experiences, those pressures then subside. When those pressures subside, the dream ends. But this is only a temporary ending because some pressure will develop again. That is why even in the same night, for example, one sleeps, one can have multiple dreams also. So it is something similar. So the karmas are exhausted for that srishti ends. And then there is some time passes, right? In an unmanifest form. So time is also there in an unmanifest form. Everything is unmanifest. And then some more karmas begin to ripen for the different jivatmas. And then the next srishti comes about.
Okay, so when the Sūkṣma Śarīram pervades pralayam also, right? Because if the karma is not fully exhausted, it will have to be spent in the next creation. So will it, or maybe the question is different. Let me ask this question. So this accounting of karma, is it for the Sūkṣma Śarīram or is it for the Ātman, or I don't know if both are same?
So basically, the Sūkṣma Śarīra ends because the Sūkṣma Śarīra is also manifest. I can know what I'm thinking. The states of the mind are known to me. So the Sūkṣma Śarīra is also a manifestation. But in Pralayam, there is no manifestation. The seeds are there, but the manifestation of the seeds are not there. The Jivatma continues in the form of the Karana Sharira. When we come to the Karana Sharira, we will discuss this. That is where the karmas are kept track of.
Okay, so the accounting is at the
Karana
Jivatma.
Sharira. Yes, okay. Karana Sharira level.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Balaji, you have a question?
Yeah. In terms of this Sanchita karma and Prarabdha karma, for example, I mean, I have a record of all these karmas, and some of them Prarabdha karmas I'm fulfilling this in this particular birth.
Yes.
Now, for the case of Jivan Mukta, if he becomes Jivan Mukta, does it mean that he's exhausted Sanchita karmas as well, or is he burning them through Jnanam? See, prarabdha karma is something in this Jarma we are burning.
Yes.
But Sanchita karma, I also have a bag of that lying somewhere.
Yes.
And in case of Jivan Mukta, is he burning it or he already exhausted that by the time of the current Jarma?
Yes. So basically, the Jnani, when the Jnani was born, the Jnani was not a Jnani. He was an Ajnani. So the birth of the Jnani was brought about through the Prarabdha, which is a subset of the Sanchita. So Sanchita was there when the birth happened. Now, when the Jnanam is attained, at that point, the Sanchita is burnt. With the Jnanam itself, the Sanchita is gone. The Prarabdha that gave rise to this body, right, that ends only by being exhausted. The Sanchita are the dormant karmas, right?
Yeah.
So the dormant karmas are like seeds that have not yet sprouted. So you can imagine the seeds as being roasted, right? Once the seeds are roasted, they cannot produce a sprout after that.
Correct.
So the entire Sanchita karma is burnt or roasted, you can say. Effectively, it is destroyed. It can have no further effect. Now, with regards to the Prarabdha has already started to fructify in terms of this body.
Correct.
So the Prarabdha is compared to an arrow that has been shot. Already shot, it has left the hands of the shooter. So the arrow has to travel its full distance, and when its momentum is exhausted, it will fall. So similarly, this Prarabdha has to exhaust the momentum. It has already started. So it's something like the fan is running. Now we have switched on the fan, switched off the fan. Right? With Jnanam, we have switched off the fan. But the momentum of the fan is there. It will continue to run for some time. And then it will stop. So similarly, this Prarabdha has to get exhausted. And as the Jnani goes through the life, the Prarabdha gets exhausted. And when the Prarabdha ends, then the Jnani's Sūkṣma Śarīram separates from the Sthula Sharira like anybody else. So the Sthula Sharira will fall. But then the Sūkṣma Śarīra doesn't continue anymore like an Ajnani Sūkṣma Śarīra. Sūkṣma Śarīra also disintegrates.
Now, my question is still not answered in the sense,
Okay.
see, the thing is, the fact that I become Jnani, this particular Janma,
Yes.
I need to have certain punyam from the Sanchita karma or from the previous things, right?
Yes.
That is a seed. I mean, that's a requirement so that
Yes.
I turn it Jnani.
Yes.
But in order to exhaust that whole thing, I mean, like, is it an inevitable event because of the Sanchita karma or past karmas, or is it because of the free will that is coming in and helping me in becoming a Jnani and exhausting my Sanchita karma or burning out the Sanchita karma? Which is because there are two components here.
Yes.
One is the free will component, another is the carried forward. Punyam. The punyam, is it the punyam alone carrying me to become a Jnani, or is it the free will plus punyam together or helping me out in burning out the Sanchita karma?
Yes. So in any activity, right, there is a contribution of both the Prarabdha and the Purushartha. So both Prarabdha and Purushartha is there, which means that both the destiny as well as the free will have a role to play in any activity. Any worldly activity, for example, one has to pass an exam, right? Like we discussed, one may be incredibly talented or gifted because of destiny. Destiny is nothing but my own past free will. So one may be incredibly talented. But then another person who is not as talented, with a lot of hard work, can achieve the same success that this person is achieving also. So there is an interplay of destiny and free will. And in a third person,
Yeah,
it is possible that the destiny may push him in the opposite direction. That even if he puts in a lot of hard work, the destiny is working against him, so he's not able to achieve that same level.
Okay, got it.
So there is an interplay of the two, right?
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that once a jnani, so a jnani also is riding the wave in some sense, that the punya, the past punya is definitely has a role to play, as we have seen in terms of getting conducive circumstances for the spiritual pursuit. The past punya has a role to play. And one also puts in an effort to try to really understand what Vedanta is saying, and trying to basically doing Shravanam, right? The Guru may have maybe teaching certain things, but then the Shishya has to make an effort. So there is effort also involved, right? So now at the end of all this, one gains Jnanam, let us say, right? Now once one has gained Jnanam, then one knows that I don't have free will as Ātmā, right? I don't have any free will, nor am I affected by destiny. One goes beyond both. Therefore, then the body goes through what it has to go through, because the body is still surviving for the jnani.
Yeah.
And we say that this is an important thing, that the body of a jnani survives. Because if that prarabdha also got, let us say, decimated with jnanam, then the body will also fall with jnanam. As soon as jnanam happens, the body will fall. Right?
Yeah.
Then actually many people will hesitate to come to the class also, because what if people will say, what if I become a jnani? So firstly, that is one problem, right? But then another important thing is there, that if with jnanam the prarabdha was to get decimated and the body falls, then everybody who is teaching would also be an ajnani. So it is important. This is an important fact in nature, that even after jnanam, the prarabdha doesn't get exhausted. The prarabdha continues the body. So the jnani lives in that body, right? The jnani knows I am not the body. The jnani can continue to teach through that body.
Got it. Thank you.
So anything else? Okay. And we will conclude today. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Satyanji.
Hari Om.